search Pinot Noir and Zin and late harvest Riesling, and you can get really nerdy if you know your space. Plus you'll know how much that person knows depending on the things you're searching. The fact that you can search and then just say, so Sally Pants says something, and you can say, at Sally Pants, I totally disagree with you, but I'd love to talk to you about it someday. It's not about, one thing that I think is imperative is never hard selling. I never said in forums, and then later on Twitter, Todd, I totally agree with you with Zins, you should check out the show I did on Zins the other day. I would just talk, my homepage linked to Wine Library TV, if my comment was valuable enough and it led to them checking out who I was and then clicking the show, that was good enough. Because the second you start leaving links in your comments, everybody knows what you're doing. So it's really about working, it's almost like a cocktail party, right? If you get involved in a conversation about the Cincinnati Reds at a cocktail party, or the big game last night, or Jimmy Rollins hit last night, and within 30 seconds, and within 30 seconds you're giving that person a business card, it doesn't feel as good. Would have been nicer if the business card came 2 weeks from now, or maybe a couple hours later. So I think you treat social networks and the whole social web, and the web, whatever you want to call it, as much as real life as possible. That's where I won. I built my brand on listening, not on talking. Twitter, everybody wanted to talk. All I was doing was listening and responding. So the most effective things I did was I emailed back every person that ever emailed me. I got involved in the trenches, which were forums and blogs around my subject matter. And I didn't filter. Too many people filter. You know how many people are like, oh, I won't engage that person, they only have 35 followers on Twitter? That's insanity. That's stupid. Because you have no idea who's what, where, what, right? I always trained everybody in the store. I don't care if a guy comes in with combat boots and buys beer. His brother might be our biggest wine customer. You treat everybody 1,000,000,000%. I got a lot of my success comes from running a retail store and understanding what customer service was. I do the same. I don't filter when somebody asks me and says, well, how many people does that person have following them? Because there was a day when I had 20, and it would have been really smart for the other big brands to have been my friend back then. So I would say caring. Just spectator board, Parker board, just know, search your term on Google and make sure you know what the first 10 pages of results are in your world. Yes. Congratulations.
How has your engagement with people like that changed? Because I know you do a lot more broadcasting. I know you do a lot of conversation too, still like on Twitter, but there is definitely a lot of check this out. I just did a video, whatever.
Yeah.
How and why has that changed?
Well, it hasn't really changed. I've never apologized for being a salesperson. I'm in two extremes. There's no middle with me. Everybody overthinks it. Everybody's okay. I gotta find the balance of what do I push out and how do I engage. I'm just massively extreme on both ends. I engage with almost everybody I possibly can. If you look at my Twitter stream, it's only two things going on. If you were to look at it right now, it would be the last 500 things would be an enormous amount of @replies, things that none of you would understand because it's just like, @Sam49, thanks. @Sally222, great. It's conversations, right? And then the whole rest of it is, check me out, look at this, come to my book signing, look at my video. It's all selling because this is business. I'm not going to apologize for that because, one, people can unfollow you and I respect that. And when people are like, there's been plenty of tweets in the last month that have been like, enough with Crush It. And I'll email them and apologize, and I'm like, I get it, but you have to understand, I put in a lot of work into this. I'm not going to now, when you have to execute, now, when I have to actually sell this piece of crap, you're going to tell me that all the 9 months of staying up, writing this thing, all the prep work, all the hard work, 24 hours a day, and now I can't sell it? There's a very much a too cautious culture of selling in this space. You don't want to be too selly. I respect that. You never want to be too obnoxious, but I think you can definitely balance it by out-caring. If you're good enough to do it, if you're not giving anything back and just selling, you're going to lose. But when you're giving back 95% of the time, if you want to sell hardcore that 5%, I think that's the way to go. It works for me because what are you going to do? You have to. Because I love all the people that are super zen and never sell, and then they come out with their books and they're selling like crazy. I got plenty of bulk emails from people that are the most zen in the whole space, to all their address books saying, sorry about this bulk email, I didn't want to do it. You have to sell if you're in business. That's a evil that some people think, or I'm proud of the product. I'm not scared to crush it. I think it's well worth the $20, so I'm not scared to sell it. Because I know people buy $500 tickets to see my keynote, and that's only one part of what's in this book, right? So I feel good about the product. If you feel good about your product and you give back, there's no reason you can't.
I think in a nutshell, you are your brand. And so when we're going to see you, whether it's on Wine TV, whatever, you are who you are. I think the nice thing about it is you have that combination. You interact with all of us. I mean, you've done it with me a few times, and when I'm just asking you a question, and I think that's brilliant. I mean, that's what we want.
Well, I appreciate it. I think that you can't lose if you're nice and you care. And that's what I love about this. I mean, I got really, really, really lucky. And for all my bravado, and plenty of people think, I can be obnoxious. I'm intense. I get it. I'm very aware of who I am. I've lived my whole life. I know what happened in 8th grade when I moved. Tons of people loved me the first day of school, and there was like 7 or 8 that didn't. And then of course I won over those 7 or 8. This has been a pattern since day one. I'm not confused what's going to happen. You go and start, cursing and screaming and yelling and being intense. That's going to turn off some people. Like the Wall Street Journal said, I'm East Coast for East Coast. I get it. I get it. But what I also know is that I'm never going to lose, because at South by Southwest, which is where everybody comes and it's the big event, everybody gave their keynotes and left and wanted to go to like the VIP parties and be all cool, and I stood for 4.5 hours taking pictures and shaking hands. I know how much I care. I know who I am. I know how my parents raised me. I know the DNA I was given. I'm not going to lose. I can't. I like you more than you like me. I promise. It's just the way it is. It's not your fault. It's just how it was built. And that's gonna win. And what's amazing to me is people have always made fun of me for answering my emails. They don't think it's scalable. A lot of people debate that I'm way too available, so why would people pay for my stuff? Like, why would anybody pay for your $500 keynote? So you're always out there. I think the reverse. I think we're living in an economy where content has very little to no value because it's out there, plenty of supply of content, right? Information is widely available. I think we're moving towards a thank you economy, where I know that a ton of people, I know that many of you will buy an extra copy to give to a friend just to thank me. I mean, I know how it works because I do that. I get it. And so I just think that there's a lot of changes going on, and I'm just pumped that my caring is scalable now. I mean, my customer service, in comparison to when I did it for the wine business, I mean, here's the wine business back in the day. If somebody called me and said, your cashier sucks, I hate you, I was pumped. Because I knew I could go out and buy flowers and drive to her house and give her a bottle of wine, and she was fixed forever. I was the greatest of all time. Still telling that story, right? The person I was scared of is the person like me. If I go to a restaurant tonight and the waiter kicks me in the face and spits in my food, nobody in the world will know. Just the way I am. Won't do it. I don't feel comfortable in negativity, so I don't put it out there. That's it. Not one person would know. Would I ever go back? Probably not, because the kick hurt. So that person always scared the crap out of me at Wine Library. The person that complained, I was pumped. I would do whatever it took for the rest of my life to fix them. And there was plenty of tough customers to crack. But eventually they just didn't want to deal with me anymore, and they said, fine. The person I was scared of was the person that was silent. Well, in this day and age, when we're all using tools, people are just not as silent, They're just not as silent. And I love that. I love that. Not only can somebody not be silent, but I can engage, And so it's a big deal. It's a big opportunity. Much more scalable. Yes, sir.
Are there any wineries in particular or other big companies that you think do an exceptional job of using social media to promote?
Yeah, I mean, Zappos is obviously the poster child because they truly built a culture of customer service and then used social media to scale that to make it the story and basically forced Amazon to buy them, They sold the company for $1 billion based on having a culture of caring and scaling. I think there's a